A very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television this Friday morning. My name is Aishwarya Kapoor and this is your one-stop morning show for the top stories from India and across the globe. Let us start with the headlines. 3 killed and 9 injured as 13 coaches of Vasco da Gama Patna Express derailed near Manikpur station in Uttar Pradesh. Rescue and relief operations on. Finance Ministry clarifies it won't withdraw bank checkbook facility. Clarification after report suggested centre may withdraw facility to encourage digital transactions. Health Ministry asks states to take action against hospitals indulging in malpractices. Directive in wake of Gurugram-based hospital billing a family 16 lakh rupees for a dengue patient. Myanmar signs deals with Bangladesh to take back tens of thousands of Rohingyas who fled following military crackdown. Return to commence within 2 months. And PV Sindhu enters quarterfinals of Hong Kong Super Series. Semi-final matches of a Women Youth Boxing Championship to begin from today. 4 Indian boxers to contest for final berth. First up, grim news coming in. 13 coaches of the Vasco da Gama Patna Express have derailed near Manikpur railway station in Uttar Pradesh early morning today. 3 people have been killed and 9 others have been injured. The Patna-bound train derailed at 4:18 a.m. in Chitrakoot district of Uttar Pradesh. The injured have been rushed to the hospitals nearby and officials have left for the spot. Relief operations are underway. A medical train has also reached the spot and an accident relief train has also been dispatched.
अभी इसमें कैजुअल्टीज की कोई खबर जो है वेरीफाइड नहीं मिली है। कुछ लोग घायल हुए हैं और तुरंत जो है घायलों को अस्पताल में एडमिट कराया गया है मानिकपुर में और चित्रकूट में। और हमने हेल्पलाइन नंबर्स भी जो हैं डिफरेंट स्टेशंस पे वो फ्लैश की हैं मीडिया के पास ताकि लोगों को जानकारी मिल सके। माननीय केंद्रीय रेल और कोयला मंत्री श्री पीयूष गोयल जी घटनाक्रम पर नजर रखे हुए हैं। उन्होंने रेलवे प्रशासन को निर्देश दिए हैं कि बेहतर से बेहतर रिलीफ और रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन किया जाए।
Well, we'll keep getting you all the updates on that accident. Let's move on in the bulletin now. The President has given his assent to the ordinance to amend the Bankruptcy Code. With this, willful defaulters and entities whose accounts have been classified as NPAs will be barred from bidding or assets. The ordinance to amend the Insolvency Bankruptcy Code 2016 aims to put into place safeguards to prevent unscrupulous persons from misusing or violating the provisions of the code. As per the ordinance, corporates, promoters and associate companies undergoing insolvency resolution or liquidation under the code would not be eligible for bidding for the stressed assets. The amended code also says that the Committee of Creditors should ensure the viability and feasibility of a resolution plan before approving it. The code that became operational in December last year provides a market-determined and time-bound insolvency resolution process. Over 300 cases have already been approved by the National Company Law Tribunal to be taken up under this law. And the President also cleared an ordinance amending the Indian Forest Act of 1927. The ordinance omits bamboo grown in non-forest areas from the definition of trees, thereby exempting it from requiring permits for felling or transportation. Before the ordinance was issued, the definition of tree in the Act included palm, bamboo, brushwood and cane. The move is aimed at encouraging bamboo plantations, which will contribute to achieving the objective of doubling the farmers' income by 2022. On to the other top story now. The Health Ministry has asked all states to take action against hospitals indulging in malpractices such as overcharging and not following the standard treatment protocols. This comes in the wake of allegations that a Gurugram-based hospital billed the family of a dengue patient 16 lakh rupees. In a letter to the Chief Secretaries, the Union Health Secretary said that the alleged malpractices by clinical establishments not only compromises the patient's safety but also raises concerns about accountability in healthcare costs. The centre asked the states to ensure the implementation of Clinical Establishment Registration and Regulation Act of 2010, under which all hospitals can be regulated. Meanwhile, a technical committee is yet to be set up to decide on the charges for treatment of diseases and procedures at clinical establishments, including private hospitals. On to some other news now. The Finance Ministry has clarified that it will not be withdrawing the bank checkbook facility. The statement comes after some reports suggested that the centre may withdraw the bank checkbook facility in the near future to encourage digital transactions. The ministry emphasized that while the government is committed to transform India into a less cash economy and promoting digital and electronic transactions, checks are an integral part of the landscape. And Cabinet Secretary Pradeep Kumar Sinha will chair the first meeting of IAS officers who have been roped in as the Prabhari officers for the rapid transformation of 115 backward districts across the country. The task of these officers is to coordinate the efforts of the centre and the states by addressing specific developmental needs of the districts. The additional and joint secretary ranked officers will work in consonance with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of a new India by 2022. Among the 115 backward districts, 35 are affected by left-wing violence. The districts have been identified on the basis of education, health, nutrition and basic infrastructure like rural road connectivity, rural household electrification, access to potable water and individual toilets, among others. Now, Niti Aayog CEO Amitabh Kant had last week written to the chief secretaries of the state to designate senior officers to act as a bridge between the centre and the district. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the 5th edition of the Global Conference on Cyberspace in Delhi on Thursday. He also launched an app called Umang that will provide over 100 services of the centre and the state governments on a single platform. Here are the details.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday inaugurated the biggest ever global conference on cyberspace in the country.
Reiterating the transformative and inclusive fabric of our collective digital India efforts and the journey towards...
Calling cyber attacks a significant threat to democracy, he spoke of the need to train professionals to tackle them. The Prime Minister also felt that cyber protection must become a reliable career option.
We need to ensure that vulnerable sections of our society do not fall prey to the evil design of cyber criminals. Alertness towards cyber security concerns should become a way of life.
Stating that digital technology and empowerment through digital access is the aim of the government, the Prime Minister informed that it has saved around $10 billion so far by eliminating middlemen.
Financial inclusion through our Jan Dhan bank accounts. Second, the Aadhaar platform. And third, the mobile phone have greatly helped reduce corruption and broad transparency.
Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, who was also present at the event, underscored the need for a legal framework on cyberspace. Wickremesinghe is on a 4-day visit to India to boost bilateral ties.
Into the topic of creating and maintaining a safe, secure and inclusive cyberspace for all that will in turn impact positively on sustainable development.
Information Technology Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad highlighted the role of privacy but said it can't hold back innovation in cyberspace.
Privacy cannot become the shield of the corrupt, of the terrorists and the extremists. That's how we have to balance the whole idea.
The first global conference on cyberspace was held in 2011 in London. The theme for the current 5th edition of the conference is Cyber for All, an inclusive, sustainable, developmental, safe and secure cyberspace. More than 10,000 delegates from 123 countries are taking part in it.
As India is poised to become $1 trillion digital economy and lead the digital revolution in the world, the global conference in cyberspace hosted by India seeks to formulate and put across a robust cyberspace. The deliberations by international leaders, policy makers, industry and cyber experts would help us find solutions for challenges in the cyberspace. Reporting from Delhi, with camera person Manoj, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
And Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe met Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Hyderabad House in New Delhi yesterday. The two countries said that they are looking to expand their cooperation in the infrastructure sector. Both the nations are also looking to ways to deepen their engagement in the fields of security and trade as well.
On a 4-day visit to India to review initiatives in mutual cooperation, Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe on Thursday met Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Besides regional peace and terrorism, both discussed areas to further widen cooperation.
The two sides discussed the entire gamut of bilateral relations and ways to further deepen the historically close and friendly relations between the two countries. Prime Minister of Sri Lanka will return to Colombo on 24th November.
The Sri Lankan Prime Minister later met business leaders in Bangalore to seek cooperation in software technology.
I am also aware that India, the world's largest democracy with the second most populous internet user base, took a critical step in this direction when it issued regulations in February 2016 to ban zero rating, the practice where ISPs are given preferential treatment to selected services or applications, influencing the user experience and distorting competition.
The signatory also called on President Ramnath Kovind. The Sri Lankan Prime Minister's visit comes against the backdrop of China's efforts to carve a space for itself in the Indian Ocean region. It has invested heavily in the Hambantota port, but owing to the high cost of interest payments, Sri Lanka is opposing such initiatives by China. The cost advantage has given India a good chance to undertake similar infrastructure projects in Sri Lanka. Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha Television.
And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu concluded his Chennai trip on Thursday. Speaking to students at the SRM University, he said that education is the most important element in converting young population into national assets.
Addressing the convocation ceremony of the SRM University in Chennai, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu on Thursday described education as the most important element in converting our young population into national assets.
You must develop the students into an integrated personality to meet any challenge. Physically strong, mentally knowledgeable, and also socially aware of his responsibility or her responsibility. Remember the great culture and traditions of this country, and remember the sacrifices that are made for the sake of this country by great people.
Praising demonetization and GST, the Vice President said reforms like these will propel India to the status of a major economic power.
To root out black money from the society, it's not a political issue. It's not for the politicians. It's for the entire society. The malady of corruption and black money, it has to be removed by all means. And different methods are there. There will be experiments and then there will be criticism this way or that way. Let the debate go on about demonetization, about GST, about all these things. Let the debate go on.
Underscoring the importance of the mother tongue, the Vice President said while students must learn new languages, they should speak their mother tongue at home to learn to express themselves better. With Panchanan Mishra, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And in Breakfast News, time for a very short break. We'll be right back with more news. Stay with us.
I'm Dr. Ravi Mehrotra. I direct the National Institute of Cancer Prevention of ICMR, which is located at Noida. I'm going to talk about how more than 60% of all cancers occurring in our country are preventable. Please keep watching Eureka.
Welcome back after the break. The Election Commission has allotted the two-leaf symbol to the AIADMK led by Tamil Nadu Chief Minister E. Palanisamy and his deputy O. Selvam. In an 83-page order, the Election Commission said that the faction was backed by a majority of party members. Palanisamy welcomed the development, calling it the happiest day for the party. AIADMK activists celebrated the news at the party headquarters in Chennai. The decision ended a months-long fight for the symbol between the two factions that included the Palanisamy-Selvam group and ousted leader V.K. Sasikala.
It's a historic day in the pages of AIADMK. In fact, in the history of independent India, many parties have broken, their symbols frozen. But no party has got its symbol back. It is only AIADMK which had split, reunited and retrieved the symbol not once but twice.
More news from the south of the country, and 31 coastal districts in 4 states and a union territory will take part in a mega mock tsunami exercise. International participants will take part in the exercise to be simultaneously conducted in West Bengal, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry along the entire eastern coast. Now, according to the Home Ministry, the disaster scenario will simulate tsunami waves originating due to a high-intensity earthquake near the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, which will lead to a massive tsunami along the east coast. The mock drill is being conducted through the National Disaster Management Authority and the Indian National Centre for Ocean Information Services. Now, participants from 11 Pacific Island nations will observe the entire exercise to take away key lessons and best practices to be adopted while preparing and responding to a disaster situation. The exercise is one of the various activities planned on the occasion of the 2nd World Tsunami Awareness Day, which is held on 5th of November. This is the first time that the entire eastern coast will participate in a mock exercise simultaneously. And the Indian Navy has got its first woman pilot. Naval officer Shubhangi Swarup will soon fly maritime reconnaissance aircraft. Shubhangi, who hails from Uttar Pradesh, is the daughter of a naval commander. She will now be trained at the Air Force Academy in Hyderabad. 3 other women cadets, Asta Sehgal from New York, Rupa from Puducherry and Sakti Maya from Kerala, also created history by becoming the country's first women officers at the Naval Armament Inspection Branch of the Navy. They were inducted on Wednesday at the passing out ceremony in the Indian Naval Academy in Kanpur. News from Jammu and Kashmir, and Centre's Special Representative to the state, Dineshwar Sharma, will begin his 2nd visit to the state today. During his 4-day visit, Sharma will visit Kashmiri Pandit families at the migrant camps in Jammu. He will also visit the camps housing people who are displaced from their villages due to cross-border shelling. Later on, he will visit areas of unrest in South Kashmir's Pulwama and Anantnag districts and also to interact with the local youth and students there. Our top international focus now. Bangladesh and Myanmar have signed a deal for the return of hundreds of thousands of Rohingya Muslims who fled Myanmar after a recent army crackdown. Myanmar and Bangladesh have signed a MOU on the return of possibly hundreds of refugees to their homes in Myanmar's Rakhine state. While the two sides say that they are working on the details, Bangladesh Foreign Ministry says that displaced people could begin to return within 2 months. A statement from Suu spokesman said that the pact was a win-win situation for both the countries. An estimated 6,15,000 Rohingya refugees have fled across the border in Bangladesh since 25th of August, when a new outbreak of violence between Myanmar military and armed militants in Rakhine state. The crisis has been called ethnic cleansing by the United Nations and the US. Meanwhile, Rohingya refugees are wary of the accord signed between Myanmar and Bangladesh and are not eager to rush home across the border.
নিজৰ জাগা জমিনৰ সম্পদে নিজৰ জাগা জমিনৰ নিজটো ভাগ কৰিব সম্পত্তি ইনিলে আৰাৰে নোয়াঙ্গা যদি মানি লদ্দ হইলে আৰাৰে বার্মার গভর্নমেন্টে মানি লদ্দ হইলে আরা যাইব।
News from Zimbabwe, where Robert Mugabe's former right-hand man Emmerson Mnangagwa will be sworn in as the interim president of the country today. Mnangagwa returned to the country on Wednesday to take the reins, promising to lead the nation into a new and unfolding democracy. He had fled to South Africa 2 weeks ago, only to return home on Wednesday to a hero's welcome. It was his dismissal as vice president by Mugabe this month that led to the ruling ZANU-PF party and the army to intervene and force Mugabe to quit. Mugabe and his wife have been granted immunity, allowing the couple to remain in the country. Now, the swearing-in ceremony will be at the 60,000 City National Sports Stadium in Harare, with the organizers calling on Zimbabweans to come and witness a historic day. Ahead of the swearing-in, Mnangagwa urged Zimbabweans to remain patient and peaceful and desist for any form of a vengeful retribution.
I pledge myself to be your servant. To all genuine patriotic Zimbabweans to come together. We work together. No one is more important than the other. All Zimbabweans.
Obviously, there's some economic fundamentals that need to be addressed. And I expect and I hope that the new government will address those things. I also hope that we have a better economy. With a better economy, it impacts us directly. So advertisers, that's how we will survive.
Let's get you all the sporting action now. The semi-final matches of the AIBA Women Youth Boxing Championship will begin today in Guwahati. 4 Indian boxers will contest for the final berth. Jyoti Gulia will bout against Kazakhstan's Ziansaya Adrinamova in the 51-kilogram category. Shashi Chopra will take on Namoon Monkor of Mongolia in the 57-kilogram category. Ankushita Boro will play against Thailand's Thanchauk Sakshri in 64-kilogram category, and Neha Yadav will be up against an opponent from Kazakhstan. A total of 7 Indian boxers are into the semi-final of the championship. An Indian badminton player, PV Sindhu, has entered the quarterfinals of the ongoing Hong Kong Super Series tournament. Rio Olympic silver medalist Sindhu beat AIADMK of Japan in the second round of the women's singles, 21-14, 21-17. She will now face China Open champion Akane Yamaguchi. Meanwhile, in another match, ace Indian shuttler Saina Nehwal and HS Pranoy failed to cross the pre-quarter-final. Saina lost to China's Chen Yufei 18-21, 21-19, 21-10, while HS Pranoy lost to Karumaza Sakai of Japan 21-11, 10-21, 15-21. On to some cricket news, and England are all out for 302 in 116 overs in their first test match at the ongoing Ashes series against Australia at Brisbane. This is the third time that England have reached 300 batting in the Ashes series. Teams are looking to perform their best in the series. England have not won a test at Brisbane since 1986, while Australia have not lost a test on this ground since 1988. And the second test match between India and Sri Lanka will take place today at the Veer Bhadra Cricket Association Stadium at Nagpur. Both the teams are looking to perform their best. The first cricket test between the two nations ended in a draw at Kolkata's Eden Gardens on 20th of November. And the organising committee for FIFA competitions announced pots for the final draw of the FIFA World Cup 2018. The teams are divided into 4 pots each containing 8 teams. Now, first pot contains the highest ranked teams, while pot 2 contains the next highest ranked teams. Pot 3 contains the second least ranked teams, and pot 4 with the least ranked teams. Now, pot 1 has Russia, the World Cup host, Argentina, who have entered 3 finals in 3 years, Belgium, the first European nation to qualify for the 2018 World Cup, Brazil, France, Germany, Poland and Portugal. The pot 2 contains Colombia, Croatia, England, a team which has some youthful talent, Mexico, who have made it to the last 16 at every World Cup since 1994, Peru, who have entered their first World Cup in 36 years, Spain, Switzerland and Uruguay. Pot 3 has Costa Rica, Denmark, who demolished Ireland 5-1 in playoffs, Egypt, Iceland, which became the smallest country ever to take part in the World Cup final, Iran, which secured back-to-back World Cup qualification for the first time, Senegal, Sweden and Tunisia. And pot 4 contains Australia, Japan, which has qualified for the last 6 consecutive FIFA World Cups, Morocco, Nigeria, Panama, Saudi Arabia, Serbia and South Korea, which has participated in 9 consecutive and 10 overall FIFA World Cup tournaments, which is the highest number for any Asian country. And Prasar Bharati turned 20 on Thursday. On the occasion, Prasar Bharati's CEO Shashi Shekhar Vempati said that modernizing Doordarshan and Akashvani were his top priorities. Mr. Vempati also planted a sapling at the Todapur DTH Centre to mark the day. He also greeted the employees of the public broadcaster on the occasion. The Prasar Bharati, which runs the Doordarshan and All India Radio, is an autonomous body established under the Prasar Bharati Act, and it came into existence on 23rd of November 1997.
Prasar Bharati, Doordarshan, Akashvani are very unique. कि जो विषय हैं उनका कंटेंट का जो फोकस है वो ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जो कमर्शियली कोई प्राइवेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कभी नहीं करेगा। पर हमारे लिए चैलेंज ये है कि इस मैसेज को हम कैसे इंटरेस्टिंग रखें, एंटरटेनिंग रखें, ताकि ऑडियंसेस आर एंगेज्ड, स्पेशली यूथ आर एंगेज्ड। तो प्रसार भारती एक स्टैच्यूटरी ऑटोनमस बॉडी है। इसका मतलब ये इट हैज़ बीन क्रिएटेड थ्रू एन एक्ट ऑफ पार्लियामेंट। तो संसद ने इसको एक अलग एक्ट से बनाया है और इसके अंदर जो पहले के दूरदर्शन और आकाशवाणी थे उनको इसके अम्ब्रेला के अंदर लाया था। ये 1997 में हुआ था। तो प्रसार भारती इज़ बेसिकली रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर बोथ दूरदर्शन फॉर टेलीविजन एंड आकाशवाणी जो रेडियो के लिए है।
That's all in this edition of news. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day ahead.